Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Meet Nugget, a cute little 7-month-old Syrian hamster. I rescued Nugget from the local animal shelter where I work, but it has been years since I've had a small animal like a hamster. And this time around, knowing what I know now about providing proper care for pets, I am determined to help others learn the proper way to care for these animals. So come along for the ride with me. Nugget was surrendered to my local animal shelter because he was a child's pet, and the child was not looking after him. He came in this really small Princess Castle enclosure by Tiny Tails. Really cute, isn't it? This cage is well under the required minimum of 450 square inches. Syrian hamsters should not be in a cage this small. These could be used as temporary housing, maybe while cleaning out your actual enclosure, but these are definitely not ideal for a hamster, and it should never be their permanent home. He also came with a ton of accessories like a couple of 5-inch wheels, which are actually also way too small for Syrian hamsters, and of course one of those cute little roly-poly balls you can put your hamster in so they can run around your house. Definitely another no-no, but that's for a different video. Today I'm going to show you how we upgraded Nug from a Tiny Tails Princess Castle cage to a pimped out natural hamster paradise on a budget. Here we go. After doing a ton of research and sorting out what would work best for Nug, me, the space I have, and my wallet, I decided to go with a bin enclosure. I purchased a 189-liter, 200-quart clear Sterilite bin from Walmart for $32. This was the biggest bin I could find locally. So we're going to start by filling up the enclosure with bedding. I'm using a natural paper bedding, which I will eventually mix with aspen shavings as well. Please do not use pine or cedar shavings. According to multiple studies that I have seen, pine and cedar shavings are generally considered harmful. Softwood shavings like pine and cedar release this aromatic hydrocarbon or phenols and toxic acids that could actually damage the lungs and trachea in your pet. The bedding you use should be toxin, scent, and dye-free so that if your hamster does ingest it, it can be safely expelled. So here I'm mixing in some of his old bedding with the new. This keeps his scent in the enclosure and helps alleviate some stress of the entire process of creating a new space or cleaning out an existing space where your hamster has already spent so much time marking their scent. With bedding, Syrians need a depth of at least 6 inches. It will allow them to create burrows and not just dig, part of their natural behavior. I'm filling up half the bin with a ton of bedding and sloping it downwards towards where I will put an area for his sand bath and exercise wheel. And now I'm just adding in some DIY hides. Stay tuned for a video on how you can easily create hamster hides on a budget. Hamsters need a variety of spaces that they can hide and burrow as part of their natural nesting habits. Let's talk about sand baths. You should never bathe your hamster in water. It strips their fur of the natural oils and makes it easy for them to catch diseases, the most common and deadly being wet tail. Only bathe the hamster if there is something toxic on its fur that needs to be removed immediately. As a safe alternative, you can give your hammy a sand bath. You can provide your hamster with a large container. I picked mine up at the local dollar store for only $2 and fill it with a quality sand. I use plain reptile sand without any calcium or dyes. I found mine in the reptile section at my local pet store. You can find it on Amazon as well. And sand baths provide an alternative method of keeping your hamster clean without risking their health. Next, I'm adding in a few things for enrichment. Hamsters that don't have any enriching toys will often chew on their own hair or skin. They'll gnaw on cage bars. They'll break their teeth. They will have all kinds of boredom issues. Dwarf hamsters can usually live peacefully with other dwarfs in their family groups, but larger species like the golden or Syrian hamsters, they are much better housed alone. Meaning that with their solo existence, it's critical that they are given some toys so that they don't become bored or self-destructive. Enrichment is the key to happiness, not only for us, but also for our tiny pets. Giving your hamster lots of things to do, to see, and to chew on will keep them active, entertained, and never bored or lonely. With the enclosure setup complete, we now need to manipulate the lid to create ventilation. Also, just a warning, you should apparently never shove your children or other people in a tote bin and close it up. Yes, this was an actual sticker on the underside of the lid. Moving on, you cannot just poke holes in the lid. This will not allow for good airflow no matter what you read on the internet. Cutting a large area in the lid and using mesh is the best option for bin enclosure. Enough light can get through and it will provide a great amount of airflow as well. I definitely made a few mistakes when creating my lid. I used a Dremel tool for the very first time to cut the opening. I did cut the parts out of the video where I nearly severed my fingers, but we don't need to talk about that. After you cut the middle portion out, I suggest you sand down the edges. They will be pretty sharp. I did cut several pieces from this part of the video just because the little sanding bit thingy kept flying off the Dremel and it was definitely really annoying. So maybe just use a bit of sandpaper. So the next thing is we just need to drill the holes where the zip ties will go, cut our mesh to size, and zip tie everything together. One more thing I would do differently here for next time I decide to build a bin enclosure is I would just actually put the mesh on the underside of the bin, and I would probably use tape just to secure it all around, just to make it more flat and just, you know, make sure that it's tight, and then I would zip tie. So first time I was doing a bin enclosure, it's not the prettiest thing, but it definitely will work for what we need it for, and it's definitely an upgrade from what Nug has had before. So here's the finished lid with the mesh in place and all the zip ties in, and we are ready to put everything together and show Nug his new digs.